Hey there, welcome back to the channel. In today's video, we are going to be creating a custom built project management solution for your business within Airtable. This allows you to have interfaces, it allows you to have automation, it allows you to have systems around what you do and make it specifically tailored to your business needs or whatever you're actually doing. So grab yourself a warm cup of coffee and let's get into it. All right, so we're here within Airtable, and if you're not familiar with Airtable, Airtable is essentially spreadsheets on steroids. It allows you to do so much more than just spreadsheets though. It allows you to have automations, it allows you to have relational databases, it allows you to create pretty much apps within just its own ecosystem. So you can sign up to Airtable with the link in the description below, and you can sign up for the free plan and it will remain free for as long as you need. I'm here on the Plus plan and it's just gonna give us a couple of extra little features, but it's fine to sign up to the free plan. So once you've signed up, jump on in and click on create a base. So once you create your first base, it's gonna ask you whether or not you wanna import some data. We're just gonna close that for now and we're going to rename our base. So the top here, we have the ability to rename our base. So we're just gonna call this our project management solution. And let's go for let's go for a green kind of color. So if this is your first time in Airtable, it might seem a little bit intimidating, pretty overwhelming all at once, but I promise it's not that difficult. We have over here the data, the automation, and the interfaces. Data is really what it sounds like. It just gives you your data all in one place. You're able to work with the data that's in there, you're able to link different data points together, you're able to have different tables, stuff like that. Automation allows you to actually say if this then that kind of logics or triggers within your data. And then interfaces is really cool. It allows you to build out these beautiful custom looking interfaces so that you can share them with other members of your team or even sometimes your clients if you're actually collaborating with them. So let's jump back over to data here, and we're going to start by thinking about what we want to build out. So I am in video production and I often work with many clients. These clients have projects, and those projects typically have different videos that go underneath them. Those videos might have tasks, and then we might have people that are assigned to each of those things. So when we start breaking down, what is a table or what is a field and all these different types of things, we can just think about it on a high level. What are the things that we have that we need to add in? So if we have, for example, our clients, we might want to have a table here and name them our clients. And then it'll ask here, what should each record be called? So our record should be called a client, for example. Great, so our client can have a name. So let's call our client Bob, and let's have a field for Bob that is Bob's phone number. And then let's have another field. So we're just pressing the plus icon and we can search down here for email, and let's have an email for Bob. Great. So we can have bob@gmail.com. We can have a phone number here. And we've got here assignees. We're gonna leave that right now. We'll get some notes maybe. We have a phone call with Bob and we're gonna add some notes into here. Now what Airtable allows you to do is it allows you to actually open up this record and actually see everything about Bob in this one space. And we're actually allowed to have conversations on here. But what we actually want to do is we want Bob to have a number of different projects. And this is where Airtable is not just a spreadsheet, it's so much more. It allows you to have relational data between different tables. So when we were thinking about those things before, we had the client, we had their projects, we had the videos, we had all those different things. One thing that we might want to have is the actual company itself, right? We might deal with more than one person from the same company. So what we can do is we can actually come down here, and this is where Airtable is so much more than just a spreadsheet. It actually allows us to have one-to-one, one-to-many, and many-to-many different relational data types. So we can actually link one table to another table. I'll show you what I mean. If it sounds a bit complicated, don't worry, you'll soon get it. It's pretty much the foundation of every single database you've ever interacted with ever. So we'll come down, add, and we'll create a table. I'm gonna create companies. And once we have a company, let's call this Bob's Sock Company. We can actually come down here under the plus, and rather than just selecting one of these options as a field, we can go link to another record, and we want to link to clients. Now it's asking us here, and this is the one-to-one, one-to-many question, many-to-many question. Are we allowing to link to multiple records? And you got to ask yourself the question, okay, do we want to have one company to many different clients? And the answer is yes, because we could have a marketing person from Bob Socks, we could have the owner, and we could also have the account person. We want them all to be under our project management tool. We'll have here, client, there we go. And then there's this plus here, and it gives us a list of everybody that's under our clients, and we can actually say Bob is part of Bob Socks. And then when we come under clients here, look at that. We've suddenly got this companies under Bob with Bob Socks, and they are linked. Now we could have a second person here. For example, we could have Eric, and Eric could also work for Bob Socks. So now when we go under Bob Socks, we've got two different clients under there. And we can actually split them up even more if we wanted to. We could actually have an option here, like for example, a single select for role. And we can have, marketing owner / director. We could have here accounting, all these different roles. And we can actually say, Bob is the owner and Eric is the accounting person. So now we know just from underneath Bob's Socks, we can see, oh cool, there is Eric and there is Bob, and they are the owner or they are the accounting person. So that is great, but what about the project management tool that we're talking about? All right, so we're creating video content for these customers, right? So let's go ahead and create a table called projects, because every time that we start a project with a customer, we want to be able to create a new thing. So we're going to create one here, and we're going to actually add in the company name. So we're going to link to another record, link to the company. Okay. And we're going to call this company. And are we allowing to link to multiple? No, because one project is just going to have one company attached to it. Okay. So let's add in here Bob Socks. And then what we can do is we can have a video type. So for example, we might want to have, or a type of project. So we might want to have, let's say, a single select, and we can say type of project. And then we can say here, let's say our option are, it's a video project. We could say here, photography project. We could say it is a SEO project, or maybe it is a, there we go. So we've expanded just from video production now to a full-on agency. The default value could be something, but we're just gonna leave that blank for now. We're gonna say, okay, so Bob Socks video project, perfect. And then we can have a date here. So we might say a created date. Let's search for that. And it actually has a created by and a created time. We're gonna format that to not include the time, just the date. Perfect. And then what we can do, let's delete these two records, is we can actually have this name, instead of just being a name, we can edit the field and we can change this to a formula. And then what we can say is we can say concatenate, there we go. So it says text 1, text 2, text 3. So what we can do is we can say company, comma, type, comma, created. Press OK and cross our fingers. Confirm changes. All right, what have we got here? That's a big long thing. Let's change that formatting just a little bit, hey? So we can go edit, we can add a space in there, or we could even add, if we do this, we can actually add a dash. And maybe, maybe I don't want to have the created time. Maybe I just want that. All right, so we have here company, comma, the dash, and then comma, type of project. Confirm the changes, and there we go. So we have Bob Socks company video project. We could add the date in there if we wanted to. If we're working on multiple different projects for them, that's probably the right thing to do. Or even maybe the month or something of that nature. You could just, you can edit that formula however you like. So we've got here the project that we're working on. So now if we go back to companies, we can actually see, great, we have the project here. And this is really important that you're building it out in these different tables. Because if you're building it on the same table, just writing in a different thing every time, what's going to happen is after a while, you're going to start realizing that you're actually manually entering in all these things. Having the relational data means that you're just calling on different pieces of information. Let's say, for example, Bob switches to a different company. That's fine, just change him. If Eric switches, that's fine, change him. If we decide that we want to move something around, we can just change that. It makes things so much easier moving forward. And it also means that from a high level point of view, you can open up the company Bob Socks and you can actually see the exact projects you're working on, rather than going into projects and then sorting by what has the company Bob. I shouldn't have to sell you on relational data. It's been around long enough. It is the foundation of all modern computing. So let's move on. We have here our projects. Let's think about the next thing that we have to do, right? Let's say, for example, this is a video project. Okay, so then we want to have one for videos. And this might be the actual task that we're creating or the thing that we're doing. So we might want to have a name here or attach it to a specific project. So let's go under here and we can link to another thing, link to projects, allow linking. Now I'm not going to just click on link to projects, link to company, link to client. I'm going to click on link to project and I'll show you why in a minute. This video is going to be linked to one project. I'm going to say link to projects, create that there. So let's say, for example, this is part of that project there, right? What we can actually do now is we can go add lookup fields. And what that's going to do is it's actually going to bring in the project's company and the project's company's client, rather than actually just bringing in the company because there's no relationship there, right? The video is related to the project. The project is related to the company and the company is related to the client. So it's important that we're backtracking off each of these things. So let's click here. We've got the project and then we've got the company. But I think that's it for all this. We might want to have the project status there if we wanted to, but I don't think so. I think actually let's just have the company, for example. And we've got there the company based off this project. So now, for example, if we actually change this, this isn't part of Bob Socks anymore, maybe it moves to a different company, we can actually see that under here. So let's jump back in here and we can just fix that back up. All right, so now we have our first video, and what do we call this video? Well, rather than just creating a name for a video, it might be a 30-second YouTube short that we're doing for this client. Let's actually create some products. Let's go down here and create some video products. And a video product might be, for example, we might want to have here a single select for platform. And we might want to have YouTube, we might want to have Insta, we might want to have TikTok, TikTok, there we go. All right, so now we can say, okay, so this is a YouTube, and we can say here, we could do duration as like amount of time. However, I'm not going to do that because I want it to be specific things that we select. So I'm going to do a single select again, and we're just going to call this length of video. So we're using single select here because we don't want to have just any duration. We want to actually have specific things that we can choose from. So let's select, for example, a 15-second video. Let's have here, for example, a 30-second video. Let's say a 60-second video and a 90-second. Cool. And then we can say, okay, this is a YouTube, let's just say it's a 60-second YouTube video. And then again, we can change our formula here so that we say concatenate platform with our length. So the name of the video product is a YouTube 60-second video. So we might have here a TikTok 15-second video. We might have here a YouTube. Let's actually change our options, and let's have here a 2 to 5 minute video as well. We're also gonna do some long form stuff. So we're gonna have a 2 to 5 minute video here too. Great. So now we can go back to videos, and rather than actually just having a name here, we can actually come here and we can say link to another database and video products. And I might call this video type just to be a little bit different. Aha, did you notice the error? I'm linking to multiple. It's not gonna be multiple. A video can only have one type. So let's confirm that, save that. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna select here. So let's say it's going to be a 60-second YouTube video, and our video name might be, we can give it a working title, and we can have some notes about the video, or the status we can change around a little bit. I think for status, let's change this. So we've got here to do, in progress, done, right? Let's change this around a little bit because we're gonna start using the views a little bit later, and we're actually able to customize and actually show the client exactly where everything's at. So what we're going to do is we're going to change this around to, the first thing that happens is we're going to be doing scripting. After that, we're going to be doing filming. The next thing we might be doing is editing. The next thing might be revisions. The next thing that we might do is completed. There we go. All right, and the default option is in scripting. Again, it can only be one thing, right? Okay, cool. Now down here it had a little create a cabana board from this view. We're going to actually use that. So over here on the left hand side, we actually have different views. Now everything that you've seen so far has just been in the grid view. It looks very much like a typical Excel spreadsheet, really, or Google Sheets, or any of the type, right? I've even made it green so it looks like a spreadsheet. But you know what? Let's change that appearance. Let's make it this color just to be different from a spreadsheet. And let's come down here and we can actually create a cabana board. So we can actually change this from personal to collaborative. We're gonna leave it collaborative. We're gonna call this video status. And it's important to say that we're under the video tab right now. So that's why we're able to do that. We're able to actually create a view specific to the video information. It's the data that's in the video area that we want to do. Now it's asking us here, how would we like to group our videos? And we want to group them by status. So let's click status, and very quickly you can see that it's just pre-populated a beautiful cabana board with our scripting, our filming, editing, revisions, and completed. And this working title project that we had here, when I click on it, we can see the project it's under, see the client, we can see the type of video that it is. We could assign it to a specific team member if we wanted to. We can actually change here if we wanted to move it across. So it's in editing or it's in filmed. And this is really, really nice to, collaborate with team members on. And the best bit is that if there's any other piece of information that you decide, you know what, we actually need to add in here, you can just add it in, right? Under the fields here, this is the same as if you were to go in to the grid view and actually add a new field here. I've actually created just then, I created the field 8. So let's delete that, but we'll actually do it from within the opened area. We're going to create a new field and we're going to create it to be a URL. And that URL is actually going to be a revision link. So that might be linking to frame.io, for example, or some type of cloud-based reviewing software. And then your editor or whoever's working on the actual edit of the project can paste in there the link. Now you might want to also have here a number, and that number can be an integer, so we don't need a decimal point there. And that can also be there for the number of revisions. There we go. And then what we could do if we really wanted to is we could actually create a created time, which is what we did on the project as well. But then what we can do is we can actually create a due date. So we can create another date and make that the same type of format, and we can make that a due date. Then if you were wanting to make the difference between this to that with something else, and so you have here the created date and you have here the due date, and we might want to enter in, the due date is the 16th of the 8th, and very quickly we're creating something that is super useful and very collaborative, right? Like your team members can be assigned to different projects. You can actually open up this record, and you even have comments down here. So you can actually talk to other team members and collaborate within this one record, this is one video. And then, you know, it's linking across to your projects, linking across to your clients, the companies that you work with. You can keep pieces of information there about them and stuff like that. But then the magic really happens when you integrate these views or the automation and the interfaces, because this is really how you get the data in there, but it's sometimes not the best way of viewing the data. Viewing the data is honestly the bigger picture, right? It's able to give you more information, so you're actually able to make better decision making around your business or whatever it is that you're using Airtable for to project manage. So what could you do within the automations? Let's say, for example, set a trigger here when a record is updated. So let's say, for example, we want to know when our video status is changed. So let's say, for example, here, okay, great. So now it's watching for the update of this. And then what we can do is we can say all different types of things. So we could say, send us a Slack message, send us a Microsoft Teams message, send us an email, send us a calendar reminder. So you could even have, for the filming, for example, you could have a date, and the client could choose a date to film. And if there's a date to film or to have a meeting or something, it actually puts that into your calendar for you. The possibilities are really endless, and being able to just throw automations directly into your data allows you to automate so much of the mindless time of going through the spreadsheet and making sure that, has this person done this, has that person done that, and all that kind of stuff. It's pretty phenomenal when you think about it. So you can just turn on the automation by clicking the on here. We're not going to go into that in too much detail because this tutorial is really based on building out a project management tool, not necessarily automating it. So once you've got that all set up, you might want to view that data in a few different ways. From the back end here, you can actually see this grid view. If we come back to the videos here, you've got the video status view that we had before, where you can drag and drop and create new records underneath there. But you've also got different things down here. So for example, we have forms. Forms are an amazing way to get information from your clients and just, know exactly what piece of information you want to have in here. For example, like if we go and have a form for new video, for example, we want to send this to our client, right? We might not want our client to deal with who's being assigned the project. So we can actually just remove this from the form. We can hide the Airtable branding. We don't want them to see the due date or the number of revisions. That's not really applicable to the beginning of the form. Or this one, that's all stuff later. And of course, we're not deleting those pieces of information. They're all still there hidden, but it's just hiding it from that form. And then what we can do is we can actually open that form in a new link. And we have this beautifully designed form. We've got here the ability to select the project, select the video type. We can say, we've already scripted it, we're ready for filming, for example. Add a new name, so this is video number 2. Add some notes. This is a TikTok video. Great. And then maybe, maybe we do want them to add a due date. We want them to say, I want it by the end of the month. And then by them submitting the form here, it adds it back into our database right here. And that gives your team the information that they need to go ahead and start working on that project. A couple of other things that we have down here is a calendar, for example. Calendar view puts all your different videos or tasks or whatever it is into a calendar. So you can select here by created or by due date, for example. If you want date ranges and multiple date fields, you do have to upgrade your plan, but let's click into it. So we have here the different due dates. Personally, I don't use calendar all that much. It's not a view that I see huge value in. I think later we might start using the timeline and the Gantt chart a little bit more, but right now we mainly use the grid, the Kibana board, and the forms. It does have another view down here called gallery. And if we were to open up the gallery, it makes a very visual representation with cards. So we've got here, if I just go back to here and we delete those 2 extra records. So we have here, let's call this YouTube long video, and we can call this TikTok video. Great. Okay. So now if we come down to gallery, we can see those 2 in a very visual card representation, right? But we can actually customize the cards. So we can say, you know what? We want to have on here the number of revisions and make it very focused about revisions, right? So we can take away that, put the status there, take away the notes, have the due date, and suddenly everything that's here is very much about revisions. So we can actually change that view and we could call it revision checker, for example. And very quickly we can see, oh, the status for this project is revisions. The status of this project is editing. We can see the number of reviews and we can actually see the URL straight away right there. And it looks beautiful. And it's really easy to share these views as well. You can just click the share button, create a view link, or you can even embed it. So if you've got your own like WordPress site and you've got like a membership plugin, for example, you can actually embed this view directly inside there and you can just integrate till the cows come home. So let's paste that here and have a quick look at what that looks like. All right, so we're seeing these views here and people can click inside them and actually just see that video there with just that information that's there. If you wanted to customize it, you can customize these cards and choose, you know, what to turn on and off. You can filter things. There's just endless functionality that you can use within Airtable. It is really quite unreal. And then the last thing that we're going to talk about for the project management tool that we're building out is the interfaces. So with interfaces, we can create those beautiful looking interfaces. It's very similar to those views, however, with one big difference. And that is when you create an interface, you only create one interface for your database. So I'll show you what I mean. Let's say, for example, we have our interface here. We're just going to call it interface for now. Let's select a camera because it's all about video and stuff. And we can, you know, start from a blank canvas, or we can use some of the things that are here. It doesn't matter so much because we can edit this later. So let's start with, for example, a list, okay? And then it asks us what table we'd like to connect with. We're going to select projects because at a fundamental level, that's the thing that big picture the client's going to want to see or our team's going to want to see. So under here, we actually have our projects, and on the right hand side over here, you can see that there's other pages that you can add. So if you add a new page here, you can actually create a second one. That's what I was saying. It doesn't really matter so much about which page you add at the beginning because you can just add to multiple pages in. So we might want to also have here our videos, and we might want to do it according to the status. And that's going to be very similar to what we were saying before with the view of the statuses. So what we've got here is we've got projects as a page, and then we've also got videos as a page, and that's our video status. So maybe we want to actually rename that. We can just call it video status. And then you might want to create a dashboard, or you might want to create a form, for example, if you want to have like a new orders form for the person that you're sending the interface to. So let's create a new orders form, and let's create a new one for maybe, let's go new projects. And then we can actually say what we want on and off, right? We want notes, we don't want assignees, we don't want status, we want no company, type of video. There we go, perfect. And we're gonna call it new projects. And there we are, a beautiful looking form ready to go. So when you're ready to preview this, you can actually just click preview and it'll show you what this looks like. And if you want to go back, you just click here and you can go edit and it'll open this back up again. You can also see who's viewing the actual thing here, and you can click publish when you're ready to publish it. So once you've published that interface, it's gonna full screen it like this. Fun fact to get back, you have to go over here and click on the edit button. You can share this with anybody. Now I will say, if you are part of the Plus or the Pro membership, it's important to know that if you send anything that's more than just a read only, they will have to start paying as well as you. So that's just something to keep in mind with Airtable. It can add up very quickly. And there you go. That is how I would build a project management solution within Airtable. It is super easy to customize. You can add heaps of different fields that are specific to your needs. It doesn't have to be, a generic out of the box status, to do, in progress, done. It can be whatever you want it to be. You can add in different review links if you're a video editor or somebody that's working on different projects creatively. If you're a lawyer, you might want to have a field specific to uploading documents. If you're a graphic designer, you might want clients to upload assets. You can have a specific field just for your asset uploads. You can customize it to however you want to have it and have that relational data so that each table is working together with itself. Feel free to comment in the description below how you're using Airtable. And if you haven't used Airtable yet, feel free to click the link in the description below, and I will see you in the next video.